Okay, here's this game. Kind of neat how it turned out. I think for about half the game I thought I was losing. There's a blunder in here that I missed, which could have shortened the game a lot. But anyway, this staggered defense, interesting. Basically just trading pieces, trying to look for an opportunity. Then, let's see. Okay. Now he's going to bring his bishop out here shortly. Not yet. There, he brought his bishop out. Now watch what happens. He moves that pawn later, and I miss it. My queen's lined up on that bishop. So he's sitting there like that, and I try to spoof him, move my bishop over to threaten his knight. Or I was thinking about it anyway. So he's moved that pawn. Right now, if you pause it, or go back, before he moved that bishop out of the way, I could have, instead of moving that knight, I could have took the bishop and put him in check. See that? So I blew it, really, but it was a hard-fought victory. But the interesting stuff is I'm going to speed this up a little bit. He plays a good game. I feel like he's got me kind of on position and just all that. It's not horrible, but, we're about even on points. One pawn each or something. And, well, actually he's got one of mine. But anyway, just kind of speeding along here. He lines his queen and his bishop eventually up on my left-hand corner, which I castled to. I probably should have stayed in the middle. I don't know. I was afraid if I went to the right side, castle, queen side, then it'd be open season over there because he could bring his queen down real easy, and he's already got a bishop sitting there on white. So just trying to preserve, and maintain the defense. And now here, I take that pawn, and he comes and threatens my queen, and I move out of the way. I'm trying to get ready for a try at his king, Get my pieces lined up, aimed in that direction, in other words. And so I'm bringing that pawn down to try to unhook that one pawn that's sitting there in front of the king, or at least pin it. And you see I got my king way over in the left-hand corner in the bottom now. He's got that bishop lined up on the pawn in front of my king. And then he lines up some other stuff like the queen on that same pawn. So I'm desperately trying to figure out how to defend this, See, now he's got a bishop and a queen lined up on that little pawn in front of the king. So I bring my castle up. Thank God I had it there. And now he brings his castle over to put triple pressure on it. And this is when I had a brilliant thought came into my mind probably from some good angel. And the thought was just to sacrifice the rook, the castle, and to break through his lines. See right there, that's a sacrifice. And that's what makes this game interesting, because that broke it open for me. He's got 2 pieces lined up on that pawn. So this ends up being a chase about, And so I'm doing everything I can to chase him, threaten his rook right there. He has to move out of the way. Then I put him in check. He has to move his king, so he's moving his king. And it's just kind of laughable that here I was, I thought I was losing, and now I'm in a position I can just keep checking him and checking him and checking him infinitely until finally he runs out of places to run to, or at least I get an opportunity to even things up. So I'm chasing his king, he's running out of places to go, and I just keep on doing it, and he has to keep moving that poor king around, chasing him all the way from the back row towards eventually my back row. And I thought it was kind of interesting here. So just keep checking. He moves down, and I swing the queen down, slide it down. Check. And at that point, or right here basically, he resigns. After this move, he's resigned. He knows he's lost, he can't win. So I was going to bring the rook down next, but first he has to get out of check, which means he'd have to move to the left one square. So when I bring my castle down, the king protects it, and he's still in check, and his rook can't interfere anymore. Can't block, for him. So anyway, I just thought it was an interesting game. I'm going to run it back to where that chase scene starts, right after the brilliant. It wasn't really my idea, it just came into my mind, I think an angel told me. Sacrifice. There, sacrifice. It looks like another sacrifice, but it's not. Because I can just threaten his castle and then keep on chasing him. So we'll speed it up here. And that's where he resigned, I believe, right there. Because his only move was one space to the left, and then I'd bring the castle down and that'd be checkmate. So what a game, what a thriller. I thought I had lost. Cheers.